I don't know if I'm alone here. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's kind of a mix. So we got another report from Ross Dellinger. At this point, I love Ross Dellinger. I think he's spot on. He's a grade A reporter. When he's tweeting now, I'm finding, because it's an update on stuff, Ross Dellinger expanded upon the 14-team playoff that's definitely going to happen, which is why they're sending this out. Now the Big Ten and the SEC want first-round guaranteed buys for their teams. They don't just want 3 automatic qualifiers and the at-large bids. They also want the buys given to them. And again, Duck fan, maybe you're different from me on this because your team's in the B1G, and maybe this will be your team this year, next year, whatever. Are college football fans in general kind of becoming annoyed? And anytime college football gets mentioned,
think so.
I'm rolling my eyes at this point of it's NBA-esque. Just shut up. I don't care anymore. You guys are annoying the living hell out of me.
I wonder if they're not annoyed because the majority of the diehard college football fans are in those big conferences. Duck fan 5 years ago, they'd be like, we're just going to give the SEC and the Big Ten a first-round bye, home field advantage, and you get 3 teams in plus some at-large bids.
Is this not getting ridiculous, though?
It is. Of course it's getting ridiculous, but if you're at the table, the gap is so big now. The gap is so big now that if you're not in the haves, you're in the have-nots. And you can whine and bitch and moan about it all you want, but it ain't going to change.
Well, also, by the way,
that's why I've kind of given up. I'm going to watch my football team this year. And if we win a game, I'll be sick. And if we lose a game, I'll be sick and move on. You know, I'm a basketball school now, baby.
By the way, the haves and have-nots are also still in those conferences.
Well, I know.
Vanderbilt, have not. Nobody, they're not going to do anything.
But Vanderbilt fan doesn't get all hot and bothered about SEC football.
No, I think they only care about baseball.
They care about baseball, like Oregon State.
I like their basketball.
Are you becoming annoyed every day? There's a new update, and I'm like, oh, cool. A Big Ten SEC stuff again.
I'm more annoyed about I got to do 14, and I haven't even done 12. That's what I'm more annoyed about. You haven't even seen how this is going to go, and you're not happy.
That's more about they have to, because they got to get things settled so they can get the big TV contract done, because this 2-year patch was to fix the remainder of the current TV deal. Mm-hmm. So ESPN, they have an agreement. It's on board for them to do whatever the next one is, but they got to flesh out all the details so ESPN knows how many games they're going to have. So ESPN's actually the one group that can push back and say, no, you're not getting, you don't get a buys all the way to they could if they wanted. If they wanted to protect their, and they have a reason to
in the Natty.
Well, they have a reason to protect the ACC because they're partners with them for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And Big 12, they run the ESPN Plus and the Big 12 network, and there's reasons for them to say no. Let's protect some more markets here and make this a little bit more accessible to everybody. If you want to guarantee a couple more extra spots for your teams over others, that's fine. But ESPN is probably the one entity that can get the SEC and the Big Ten to slow their roll just a hair.
You know how you were pretty confident when we kind of went back and forth on the Portland Diamond Project names on that stuff when we talked about that?
Yeah.
And then yesterday I saw your face when David Sampson was like, yeah, you don't tell. Swag had a... Sprague's an idiot. He had such a delightful look. I was actually happy for him.
Yes, my intellectual snobbery came out.
I did hear that.
I'm gonna play the card now. ESPN locked up the ACC to the most garbage ass contract in sports, and that conference might cease to exist when Florida State wins the lawsuit. ESPN has what network? They care the most about the SEC network. They have Paul Feinbaum on every single thing.
No, I understand that.
They don't care if the ACC's representation is the same. They care more about the SEC. So this isn't playing. The network thought isn't, how do we get our other conference to be valued? They got them on value. Their contract is embarrassingly bad. The SEC is the daddy, and they care about pleasing the daddy here. The SEC is king. You're not going to see the network step in on this because they're going to let Sankey and Petiti run roughshod over this whole thing. I do. There's a couple thoughts here. So one listener says, I'm a Duck. This is stupid. Can we just stop college football from itself? Another one, I'm a Husky fan. It's over the top. And I know your guys' schools, everybody that's a fan of those schools, yeah, the opportunities are more out there for you to be in a good spot come playoff time. But damn it, if these people that are running, they don't know what they want, and they change the tune, and they change the requirements, and this conference has to play by these rules while these conferences don't, and hey, NIL's illegal here, but it's not illegal there, and it's all, hey, the kids are ruining with the portal, and then the coach leaves for more money at a different school. It's kind of becoming annoying, and I'm going to keep watching. I want, for the record,
of course
I will
we are.
watch.
It's high-end sports.
It's high-end level football on a Saturday. I love it. But I can also acknowledge, as an NBA fan, I hate how people talk and care about the NBA. I care about the sport. I like the sport. And all we talk about is trades. This is what college football is becoming. Is the expanded playoff too many? Is it not enough? Is this conference valuable as that? Is it just these two conferences and everybody else will cease to exist? It's just over and over an annoyance of a sport that I grew up loving and still do. Every day they find something to piss me off or annoy me with.
I think the biggest thing for me now, and like I said that I'm not jazzed that you haven't even done 12 and you're trying to get to 14. Just go to 16 if you want 16.
They'll
just
go to 16 eventually.
And so, but the other thing that bothers me is kind of the Big Ten SEC in this sense. You've got the best teams. You're making the most money. Okay, cool. You want more money from this payout. Okay, fine. I get that. The more and more you start to scream for more automatic bids and now a bye and all these things, if your conference is that great, then why do you need to set all these provisions to make sure you get in? Are you worried about being exposed? Because that's what it sometimes says to me.
No, they think they're the best. I think it's the opposite. They think they're the best.
I understand, but my annoyance comes from, yeah, you think you're the best, so let it play itself out. Why do you need these?
They have.
Bet on yourself.
Because they have, Patrick, because they have for 15 plus years. And what we've done playing it out for 15 years is largely sans a Michigan, Ohio State, maybe a Clemson. The SEC has done it every time.
Right.
They have played it out, and they've been the best. So they're not carrying themselves in we're going to get exposed. They're carrying themselves of, no, we're the juggernauts in this, and everybody else is irrelevant. We need the most things.
So then why? Yeah, but that's what I'm asking. If you've proven your point, then why do you need extra help? If you know you can already do this, why do you need those extra guarantees?
Why does Jeff Bezos move out of the state of Washington to go to Florida to pay no tax?
To get more rich.
He's a trillionaire.
Yeah,
you can't get more rich.
You can't get more rich.
But guess what?
He is getting more rich.
He's in Florida, and he's dumping stock, and he's getting more money because he don't pay tax
But to your point,
anymore.
that's what's annoying.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me, and that's what turns me off. That's why, I just don't care anymore. You guys have killed college football for me, and not because my team's out of it, but because this just doesn't matter to me anymore.
A thought at the Vancouver Ford text line, answer me this. All conference winners not only get in, they get a first week bye. So if my team somehow loses 3 terrible games in non-conference, but then somehow turns it around and goes undefeated in conference play and wins the conference, you'd likely be either unranked or ranked very low because of the 3 losses, but you win the conference and you get the first week bye and home field over a team likely ranked higher than you.
That's brutal.
And I don't know if that particular situation will ever play out, but there are moments and times where this is going to play itself out.
It's kind of the Notre Dame argument we had a couple weeks ago about Notre Dame could be undefeated, but because they're not in a conference, that they would be skipped by, say,
a little bit.
LSU wins the SEC with 2 losses.
Yeah.
But clearly Georgia had no losses, but Georgia lost in the conference championship, kind of like this last year. Georgia was the best team in the country. They had 1 loss, and they were left out of the dance.
Somebody says it's starting to sound like pro sports.
Oh, shocking.
Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty much what we got here, Bob.
Yeah, so I think we're still heavy college football. I don't want in any way for this to sound like I'm going to suddenly stop caring. I'm going to follow my Beavs. I'll see what the Ducks and Huskies do.
And I'm still watching. I know
I'm
I say
all of it.
I know I say you make me not care. I don't even want to watch this. Yeah, I'm watching. Don't worry about that.
And here's the other part: is somebody texting about the committee? Yeah, I don't like the committee.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
I think it sucks too.